congratulations on Abigail. It is an amazing watch. It is completely unexpected. It is fantastic from my point of view. For you, how do you begin to set up the process of this movie? Because it has a great pacing. It has you know a weird twist towards the end that I don't want to give away, but you don't see it coming. How do you set this up with so much suspense, and have the thrills keep coming time and time again?
That's a good question. So, it was really fun to play with as a director. We wanted to make sure when you have twists like that at the end of the movie, or you're setting up something that is unexpected. Um, it's there's that fine line between like how many red herrings do you drop, and like everything you do, you have to kind of stop and be like, okay, wait, but is this giving away too much information? And the script came to me with the ending the way it was, and I loved that about the script. I'm a big sucker for surprise endings. I think The Sixth Sense was really the biggest catalyst in my horror journey. It was fun to play with. Like, I think what we really had to do is like I said, just every step along the way, we wanted to make sure that we were setting it up in a way where there was a lot of fun clues, and there was red herrings and stuff that would make it a second watch kind of thing. Because we always want people to go back and watch it again. So trying to like figure out those little things that we could set up that you may not catch the first time, but you'll probably catch the second time. And how much information is too much information, and then what's fun and what's not enough information. So it was really a dance, and I really had a lot of help. We had a lot of really great creative people on this set, between the talent and my producer that was on helping me, and my cinematographer. And we had a lot of conversations around just making sure like we were leading things up the right way and in a fun way, and still giving people something really fun to be surprised about at the end.
Definitely. And while this movie is very much a slasher film,
Yeah.
uh, it is not a typical slasher film. The buildup is a little bit different. Uh, you don't rely too much on like the factor of it. It's
No.
a so intense though. How do you do that? How do you pull back from the blood but still make it rise in intensity as the scenes go along?
Slashers haven't always. I love horror movies, and I do love a good slasher every once in a while. Slashers have never really been my thing. Like, I don't love. I mean, they're really fun to set up. It's always fun to play with blood on set. But as an artist, as a director, like slashers haven't always been my thing. So I didn't want to lean so heavily into that, and lean on that for the story. I think that those moments of just like long shots and sitting for a long time, and finding getting people on board with the character, because I think like when you're the most afraid in a horror movie, it's when you're the most connected to your characters. And I wanted to make sure that those relationships were really established, and that we were getting really deeply involved with Abby and Lucas, so that in those moments of suspense, when they're running or they're about to be caught, they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, we could really sit in those moments and find the suspense with just being with them, and being in a moment where things were forbidden, or they were getting into trouble. And I think that when you can build up that suspense, and when we can earn those moments of suspense just through being connected to the characters and being in those scary moments, it just makes the blood more of a fun payoff.
Mhm. Definitely. Your two actors are completely contrasting, both in the character personalities and in the fact that Ava is somebody who's done horror before. She's a seasoned veteran, and your other actor is new to the scene. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
how different is directing those two?
Oh, that's a good question. Ava, I've worked with Ava before, and she's such a great collaborator. Ava and I had a lot of conversations about this character, and how, Abigail is this sociopath, and like, how do you ride the line between, this girl she doesn't have feelings and emotions like a normal teenage girl, but she's observant, and she understands the motions that she has to go through to be this normal, perky teenage girl that is attractive and that gets what she wants. And so, like, observation for her in this story was really important, and like how she watches things, how she moves, how she calculates everything she's doing. And that was really cool to have that conversation. And like, Ava and I kind of decided early on, like, okay, Abigail's a sociopath, this is how she learns things, this is how she makes decisions. So a lot of conversations happened beforehand, and kind of the same with Tren. Tren was newer to it, so we had a lot of fun just because I think there's a lot of moments where on set, he would try something and get really excited about it, and then I'd be like, okay, well, let's try this too, and he would just get like really into it. Um, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. They were both a lot of fun, and we, the month leading up to shooting, we got on a call about twice a week and just really dove into every section of the script and read through it together and talked about it and dissected, the characters' growth and how they were evolving and growing together, and Lucas's arc too, going from this kid who is kind of bullied and he's depressed and he's not happy, and then he meets this one person, the only person who's ever been kind to him, happens to be a serial killer, and like how does that change his psyche, and like what kind of decisions does he make. So there's a lot of really fun things to discuss with both of them, and they were just both such troopers, and really on board with like how can we make this really good, how deep can we dive into this, and how can we make these characters really shine.
Definitely. And horror movies are a little bit difficult because you can't go into it wanting to scare a person. You need to
Yeah.
create that suspense and everything to scare a person.
Yeah.
So, as a director, how do you prepare that with your cast? The cinematography in this
Thank
is
you.
also amazing. How what kind of conversations did you have to get this mood from the camera?
I'm a big fan of watching movies that are scary and kind of working backwards in scare scenes and jump scenes. I'm very lucky. My cinematographer is also my husband, so we get to spend a lot of time together and talk about movies all the time. And we both spend a lot of time just talking about what is scary about horror movies, like why are they scary. We watched a lot of movies that were comps to Abigail, but also movies that I felt like movies that were scary. Some of the scariest movies to me that have made me the most afraid or made me jump in like really big jump scenes. And I really just tried to work backwards with why, what leading up to this scene made it scary. How long did we spend in a moment on one shot before there was a jump scene, or how did we get there, and then why is that jump scene scary, and like how quickly did it really appear. Like we would kind of pause on scenes and movies and be like, oh, okay, that's like when you stop it's not that scary, but why is it scary when we're watching it? So we had a lot of fun doing that. We both kind of nerd out on that kind of stuff. And he and I have been working together. He's shot a lot of movies with me, and he's a great cinematographer. So we had a lot of fun just like really figuring out how to make this not only suspenseful and find the moments that were scary and really replay them again and figure out, like, from other people on set, like, does this look scary? Did this play? Like, how can we make this happen faster? How can we make this happen slower? What's better for the moment? We had a lot of fun doing that, and also wanting to just really find the beauty in the imagery too. Not just make it scary or bloody or slasher, but also paint a really beautiful picture.
Definitely. And one of the things that really caught my attention about this movie was the fact that you have antagonists for the villains.
Yeah.
How do you prepare those antagonists? How do you basically make a villain for a villain?
Yeah, there's a quote by a director, and I'm going to completely forget his name and who said it, but there's a really great quote about how the best villains don't believe that they're villains; they really believe in their cause. And I talked actually to Tren a lot about the arc in the Joker, because that's one of my favorite movies. But also, I think the arc is so brilliant because you're following somebody who is so alone in life and has really got the short end of the stick in life, and his arc takes the audience on this incredible journey where by the end of it you're kind of like, well, I guess everybody kind of does deserve it. Like, what do you expect, when all these things happen to him? And that's kind of the same. It was kind of the same with Lucas. Like, he's had a terrible life. He's really like been dealt a bad hand, and his mom is not kind to him, and his dad's not around, and he gets bullied at school. And when the one person who shows you kindness when you've been so hurt your whole life is a serial killer, but they're the person protecting you, and they're the person wanting to be your friend and show you kindness, what else are you going to feel, especially as a young confused kid? but like, oh well, if this is what kindness is, if this is the only thing that makes me feel good and accepted, then yeah, of course I'm going to jump on board with it. And you kind of have to take that mentality with them, is that this is a journey of two friends who are just protecting themselves, and are making the best of the life that they have together. And they've found each other. They both come from these similar backgrounds where like they're missing a dad, they're not, home life is not great. And though their backgrounds are very different, there is something in their soul that is very similar that brings them together. And that's the story we had to focus on, is like what brought them together, and how it affected them in their journey together.
Mm. And wardrobe was amazing too. I thought Abigail's especially at first gave me kind of a Chucky vibe. How did you guys decide on wardrobe? Who
Yeah.
was it something that the cast was bringing in, or something that you had a wardrobe working with?
It's funny actually. Wardrobe was kind of a journey with this movie. I had originally, so my original costume designer that I had gave me a color palette, and we had briefly started discussing this journey of color with Abby and Lucas, and how Lucas was in this world where he was suffocating. And so we really wanted to focus on like lots of blues and purples and darker colors, where like Abigail is this like fiery essence. She is independent, and she goes for what she wants. And so we really focused on more orange and reds and brighter colors. And then as the movie progressed, like blending those colors together, and like soon you'd start to see those colors of Abby bleed over into Lucas's wardrobe, and like vice versa, and like how the colors changed, like there'd be more purples towards the end because of like blue and red. And I loved like taking that, and being able to like tell a story with their wardrobe along with that reflected the journey of the two of them as a character. And then yeah, there's like incredible where I live, we have some incredible 70s thrift stores. And I went with the cast and just tried stuff on, and had a fun shopping day.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations on this project. It is a great watch.
Thank
Um,
you.
you know, I hope to back through it, and I hope to talk to you again soon with another project.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me.